Hey everyone, it's BJ
and Patrick,
and we're here to talk about real estate and what's going on Vancouver Island. You know, Patrick, we were just talking about this, that a lot of people are kind of unsure, what kind of market is this? Should I be buying? Should I be staying out of the market? And you know, one of the things we want to talk about today is this really is a good time to buy.
Well, you know, there's always going to be the naysayers.
Sure.
But the market has definitely shown, despite the interest rate increases, that there has been an uptick in the number of sales.
Sure.
So, you know, take it for what that's worth.
Right.
When people are ready, I think they decide, it doesn't matter where prices are or interest rates are, they go ahead and they buy where they're going to live. Right?
Sure. Yeah. And the thing is, right now, the prices are coming down and have come down. So let's talk about it this way. Let's say, I don't know, pick a number, 100,000, 200,000. I've seen some listings $300,000 less than previously. Let's say you buy something, right? So let's say you buy something for, let's pick the in-between number. Let's say it's $200,000 less than what it was in January of last year.
Right. So it's $1.2 million, it's $1.3 million, now it's $1.1 million or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but you bought that today, and at the current interest rate, which might be a little bit higher, you're still buying this and getting a value in terms of what you're buying it for. And now, let's say sometime next year, interest rates start to adjust and come down again. Property values go back up. And I think you talked about it in one of our podcasts here, that on average in the Greater Victoria area, when the market does something, it's 12 to 18 months before there's a correction, and prices have traditionally gone back up after that.
Yeah, it swings right back the other way and goes beyond where it left off before the prices started going down.
Right. So, you know, so that's, I think, what we have to understand is if this makes sense from you know, the numbers, this is the time to buy, because you're going to get a better value for your home. Your interest rate is going to be higher. You have to figure out those numbers and make sure that works. But the interest rates are going to come down. You know, it's always cyclical. We know that, you know, in the States already, interest rates are starting to come down.
Yeah. So,
you know, we're going to follow suit at some point.
We're likely to follow suit, yeah.
So, you know, I think it's important to understand. There's a lot of, like we said, there's a lot of naysayers out there. There's a lot of doom and gloom, and you know, it's part of it certainly is about what sells. Right?
Well, yeah, they're selling the headlines, right? The ad space, the circulation, the clicks, whatever it might be.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if you got a house today, like, sure, that's the permanent situation that you're picking, but that interest rate could change.
Sure.
You could go back if you lock in for 5 years. Well, then, you know, you have a certain amount of certainty, like, this is going to be my payments for the next 5 years.
Right.
Right? But if you go in and you lock in for a shorter time and think like, oh, well, let's see what it's going to be in the next 2 years or 3 years, and reassess that.
Sure.
And maybe get a lower interest rate.
Sure.
Right?
Well, and because here's what we also know. When interest rates come down, prices will go up.
And you'd be glad you bought when the interest rates were a little bit higher. Right.
And because right now in the Greater Victoria area, the inventory hasn't really been addressed. We don't have an abundance of inventory.
No.
This right? This, you know, what, 30, do we have 90 days of inventory?
We have like 21, we have like 4.5 months, 5 months of supply.
Okay.
Like we have about a 21% absorption rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
which is it's a balanced market.
Sure.
That's it.
But it's artificially balanced because of the interest rates. So there's people that are waiting.
Oh yeah.
Right? And as soon as the interest rates move, they're going to step back into the market.
Well, with this increase in interest rates, it's probably made it difficult for a segment of the market to qualify for whatever the jump to the next house is.
Right.
So they're not going to put their house on the market. But when the interest rates go down and the prices go up, we should see them being added.
Right.
So you're right. I think it's artificial. It's being held back, not on purpose, But I think as an unintended consequence of the interest rates rising will keep people in their houses longer. The ones that are on the cusp of affording
Right.
the move-up house.
Right. And so, we say all that to say, and what I wanted to talk about today and talk to Patrick about was just that is this a good time to buy? If you can make the numbers work, this is a great time to buy. We're not talking about being irresponsible or anything like that, but this is a great time to get in the market because we are, in a buyer's market right now, or maybe a balanced market, buyer's market, however we want to look at that. And so, for people out there, and I had someone ask me, well, is this a good time to buy? Well, number one, you need a place to live. So, that makes it necessary. But number two, figure out if it costs $200,000 more, but I get a better interest rate versus or $200,000 less at the current interest rate. What if the numbers are a wash?
Then it shouldn't affect anybody's decision making.
Right.
It's the same,
Right?
Or, or so similar that it makes no difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of what we're talking about. And I think it's important to for anybody that's watching, it's important that you get correct information, and you're not just reading headlines, and you're not just reading or hearing reports that maybe we all know that we can hear things and they're unsubstantiated, or it can just be sensationalism. But I think it's important to make sure we're informed about our what these decisions are, and not just taking what somebody tells us. It's funny. I read an article one time, and I showed it to my daughter, and we had a good laugh about it, about how good it is for you to eat grass. And
but it's a fake.
I went through the whole article in the bottom, and at the end of it, and I was reading this because of this guy that was posting the article, and at the end of it, he said, if you have believed any of this, he said, guess what, I got you, because none of this is true. And it all sounded great, and he quoted all sorts of things and everything. He said, none of this is true. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to believe something that you read without actually getting facts on what it is you're reading.
Digging deeper
Right.
on that information.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think it's important that we understand that the world is not ending in terms of what's going on in the real estate market. And there are issues, and there are things that we all need to figure out. But guess what? This is a great time to buy.
It's a great time to buy, and I'm going to stress it from a political angle, where I've said it before, where like the federal government doesn't make it easier with financing. Like we both met with a mortgage broker, and he was going through the different mortgage products and how hard it is to qualify at each level.
Right.
So it's more of the same. The longer you wait to buy a home, the more rules that are going to come into place, that it's going to become more difficult. And really, it's loss prevention, it's protection from the lender against you, against the borrower. That's kind of how everything seems to be set up, right? So the less stellar credit, income, assets that you have, come down the level. Or you're self-employed instead of an employee. Then it's like, oh, you don't qualify for maybe the top AAA rated banks, right?
Yeah.
So, and that continues.
Sure.
And then of course, like, if it's Victoria talking about this, or Victoria, like the city of Victoria, having the middle housing, the missing middle housing initiative that they're talking about, right?
Right.
So they haven't decided, they've tabled that for a little while. But the new premier, David Eby, is talking about single family homes being able to have 3 buildable units on there somehow.
Sure.
Now, there's no details on that exactly, or how this is going to fit, but like single family homes are going to start to become more and more rare if you turn them into triplexes or duplexes or anything like this.
Right.
So it might provide more housing, but those houses will all have a latent value onto them.
Sure.
Which will not make things more cheap. But knowing that kind of information, that they could have a latent value on them, in my mind, would increase the value of all of these.
Sure.
As long as it's a desirable area, there's
Yeah.
enough employment.
Right.
I think like Victoria, like we have a positive net migration.
Yeah.
So I only see things going up in value.
Yeah, 100%. So, you know, I understand, you know, you have to figure out down payments and all these things, and the numbers have to make sense. But I think for people that are kind of deciding, is this the time?
Yeah.
This is a good time to buy. This is a good time in our market to pick up homes at a great value and you know, see the property value go up in the next, you know, if you're going to live in it for the next 5 years anyway,
Yeah.
right? You're going to see a tremendous increase in value in your home in that 5-year period,
You would think so,
right?
right? What was it? I was reading how many people left Ontario. Like, I don't know how many millions of people are in Ontario, but it was something like 89,000 people left Ontario. Okay, that's fine. Probably doesn't affect Ontario a whole lot. 7,700 of them came to Victoria and the surrounding area.
Okay.
So not only do we have a positive net migration, but we have like interprovincial migration coming this way.
Yeah.
So that's definitely exceeding people leaving,
Sure.
and any number of deaths coming
Right.
this way. And there's no way we had 7,700 new housing starts
Yeah, absolutely.
for one,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah.
So where are these people moving to? That
Well-
means there's two families in one house somewhere.
Sure. Or you're going to have just like what we're seeing we're seeing with the low inventory and the prices skyrocketing as a result of that, because you have all these, you know, buyers who are ready to buy.
It's probably going to have a spillover effect. I think this has always happened when the price of Vancouver goes up.
Yeah.
A real estate market in Vancouver goes up. It spills over probably to the lower mainland. I'm not paying attention to the lower mainland
Sure.
much, right?
Yeah.
But we always feel it here. 6 months later, 8 months later, when Vancouver prices go up, Victoria goes up.
Right.
And then Victoria goes up, then we have like our outer municipalities
Right.
and neighboring communities
Right.
all raise in value.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There's a lot to consider. That's
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your time. Remember, please like and subscribe to our channel. And if you're listening on the podcast, please follow us on here as well. And if you have any questions about the world of real estate, or maybe the value of your home, or anything like that, feel free to reach out. You know, certainly we can help you with
We'll
that.
be happy to help you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
You bet. See you guys.